Thank you, Chairman, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'll give you an overview of the geospatial policies which the Government of India has promulgated in the recent past and how it can be best utilized by the various stakeholders, both government as well as the private sector, and contribute in the G-governance. As we know that most of our policies were inherited from the Britishers. And in earlier time, the geospatial policies what the nation had was very restrictive. In fact, the maps, satellite imageries came much later, of course. The maps which were there at the time of independence were not made available to the public. And that was the only document or the geospatial information which was available. It was mainly available for the defense forces and the government organizations. Subsequently, we had a very restrictive aerial photography policy, restrictive satellite imagery policies. But the developmental needs, it demanded that the public should have free access to the geospatial data. And at the same time, the national security also must be taken care of. With this background, let us first see the policies are guided by our internal geopolitical situation. Now, we cannot always follow the policies what is followed by the West or the Americans, because each country have got their own problems and own compulsions. India is facing problems of terrorism, globalization, the spread of politicized religious fundamentalism, and then the changing partnership and alliances, the asymmetric warfare what is taking place within the country, the unstable neighborhood, and the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. With this background, we have to see the geographic condition. We have got hostile neighborhoods, we have got border disputes, we have got the adventurism by hostile nations, and then increasing influence of hostile nations on India's growth. So that is why a balance is required to be made between the developmental needs for geospatial data and the security. Taking this into account, India always follows a de-restriction policy, a much more liberalized policy. In 2005, Government of India came out with a national map policy with a view to having two series of maps, one for the public domain and the second one for the defense. So that they are called open series maps and the defense series maps. The open series maps are for the public domain and for the developmental needs, and the defense series maps to meet the security needs. And all the maps are on a global reference framework called the WGS84, which is compatible with GPS and satellite imageries. Similarly, the remote sensing data policy, which had a restriction up to 5.8 meters satellite data, which is IRS 1C and 1D, has been very recently liberalized up to 1 meter resolution data. So that means high resolution data are freely available for the consumption of the public. Similarly, the aerial photography policy, which was earlier restrictive and the private participation was not allowed. Earlier it was only the Indian Air Force and the National Remote Sensing Agency or the National Remote Sensing Center, the other two government agencies, they were allowed to undertake aerial photography, has been made accessible by the private agencies also. In 2006, the policy was liberalized and private participation was allowed, which is still further undergoing revision, and more liberalizations is expected. So there is a growth in this area because, after all, aerial photography is, satellite imageries are the key inputs for collection of geospatial data. However, it is not that the government is not concerned about the security implications in that. As I said, that the public domain maps are compatible with the GPS and satellite imagery. So some kind of a check and balances mechanism have been worked out, like National Map Transaction Registry, National Aerial Photography Transaction Registries, so that the developmental needs are also addressed, and at the same time, the security concerns of the security agencies are also taken care of. So it is a very well thought balance between these two. This further, as a security safeguard, like when you want to go for a GIS or other things, you want to develop something on there, you can take a license from Survey of India and create your own GIS database. And Government of India is coming out from time to time the various guidelines, the national data accessible policies and things like that. And recently we have seen some of the news articles. Some of the companies, they violated the national policies and they were undertaking survey and mapping without the government concern, which was violating of the not only the official Secret Act, your privacy policies. So Government of India had to step in and to ensure that they fall in line, and only whatever is required for the consumption of the public is only taken care by them. And similarly, the quality of the products have also undergone sea change. Earlier we had only paper maps which were based on local datum. Now the maps are being produced on a global datum called WGS84. And the resolution of the maps and the data have also undergone sea change. It is no more restricted to 1:50,000 or 25,000. Now 1:10,000, 1:2,000 to meet the disaster management requirements, to meet the developmental needs of the cities, and to meet the security requirements of the nations are being undertaken by the various national mapping and geospatial organizations. This is one of the sample maps, how the paper map quality has also changed, which I am demonstrating. But however, as a way ahead, there are a lot of implementation challenges, and what is the way forward for that? Earlier, as I said, it was only paper map. Now we have got the paper maps, we have got the satellite imageries, we have got the aerial photographs, and we all have to put together and convert them into intelligence. That means workable information. So we have to integrate all kind of information with reference to the geographic location. That is a challenge. And when we have to integrate so many information, your geological information, meteorological information, sociological information, then that becomes the most valuable product, and that is also called in technical terminology as geospatial intelligence. Now the image qualities, earlier up to from 16 meter, now it has come down to some meter resolution. And not only it is restricted to resolution, now the radiometric resolution, the temporal resolutions, and they have all undergone sea change. And we have got much better quality products, and then the time lag between generating two products has also shortened. This is just to demonstrate how the high resolution images are more effective in interpretation. But the technical challenges, once the aspiration goes high, then the technocrats, they face a problem, because you see, once we go for a high resolution images, it also enhances the danger of security. Now, at the same time, from the security front, we have got the UAVs, we have got this low flying aircrafts, the ballistic and cruise missiles, the wargaming, and your tactical systems, battlefield systems. They required these sophisticated systems, they require high resolution geospatial data. And at the same time, also we have to ensure that our own geospatial data is not made available to our adversaries. The second challenge remains that we have to protect our strategic assets and provide accurate latest data to our own security agencies, our own forces. This is the time which has come of a net-centric warfare, or what we call whenever any operation takes place, people who are not only the security forces, people who are involved in the policy making, people who are in the political hierarchy, everybody have to have information at the same time. So that is what we call in military parlance as a common operational picture, which should be made available to counter any kind of threat to the nation. So that is why all this data, it has to be put together in a net-centric architecture through a special data infrastructure, which the nation is addressing through NSDI and regional SDIs defense spatial data infrastructures. And this is what it gives a broad architecture of that, so that we integrate geospatial data, all these systems together, made available for public safety, for security, for disaster management, and also for the developmental needs. And finally, in my concluding remark, I would like to say that the liberalized geospatial policies, it provides an opportunity to everyone, people who are in the government as well in the private sector, and then the high resolution mapping and GIS, it needs to be outsourced to the through a public-private partnership to the geospatial industry. The Indian geospatial industry is not yet geared up to meet the national aspirations. So that is why they have to focus on capacity building and also improve their infrastructure. At the same time, the security agencies also have to change their mindset and see that the geospatial data is made available for developmental needs and other disaster management activities without creating much problem. And at the same time, also ensure that the data, whatever goes to the public domain, is not misutilized. That's all. Thank you very much.